Hi, I'm Julie. Welcome to the Gadgeteer video podcast, episode number 2. Today I'm going to talk about my experience with the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold4 folding smartphone. Wow. And we're going to go down memory lane with Palm Pilot PDAs. And if you stick around to the end, I'll give you a sneak peek on a review that I'm working on this week. So let's get started with the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold4. Boy, I'm just going to call it the Fold4. If you watched my first episode of the video podcast, you'll know that I was struggling with what kind of gear to take with me on vacation. My vacation was going to start next Thursday, and we were going to go to Sanibel Island, Florida. We've had plans and flight plans, condo plans booked since April of this year, and I'm sure you already know that Hurricane Ian took out most of Sanibel and Fort Myers and many other places in Florida. So our vacation has been canceled. But before that happened, I had already ordered this phone. I paid for it with my own funds. This is not sponsored by Samsung. And I bought this to try to take with me instead of my MacBook Pro as my only computer. I wanted to pack light. I wanted to try something different. I wanted to subject myself to gadget pain like I typically want to do when we go on vacation, just to try something different, an experiment of sorts. So I purchased this, and I've been playing with it for the last few days, and I have thoughts. First of all, it is the first time that I've played with, at length, with an Android phone since the beginnings of 2020. So it's been a little while. And I have to say that from the hardware standpoint, this phone is excellent. The build quality just feels great. And this folding feature, I've never had a folding phone before. I don't know, it's fantastic. I really like it. It feels well made. I'm not worried that the hinge is going to fail. It's very nice and firm. Everything about this phone is great. But, there's always a but. It is crazy expensive. I think I spent over $1,800 for this phone. It did come with an older model of the Galaxy Watch, which I haven't even tried on. But I started playing with it to see if it could replace my MacBook while I was on vacation. And although it probably could, it was not going to be exactly what I thought it was going to be. I was hoping that I could use Chrome browser, request the desktop version of Gmail, and be able to see all of my inboxes. I have my Gmail set up with multiple inboxes because it's just the way that I work, and I use stars. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but I'll show you a screenshot here. It's just the way that I manage my email, and email is a huge part of my day, keeping up with everything that run the Gadgeteer website. And although I could kind of do that with this phone, it wasn't exactly what I expected. And for other reasons, the fact that this phone is crazy thick. And I found that for the most part, I was only using it in this format. I wasn't opening the phone up to use the big screen as much as I thought I would. So I was constantly using it in this mode, kind of forgetting at times that I could open it up. And it's just sending text messages. I'll let you see how the keyboard is teeny, and it was just hard to type with. I was using my voice instead, and if you're out and about and trying to use your voice to send a text message, you look like an idiot. And I don't need help in that respect. So yeah, so that didn't work out for me. And like I said, I just wasn't opening it up and using it in the full tablet mode that often. And I'm glad that, well, I'm not glad that we're not going to Florida, but if I was going to use this as my only phone and my only computer, it would have been in my pocket a lot, and I think that that would be a bad thing. This thing is not dust, doesn't have any kind of dust protection, and if you're on an island, sand could get on the screen and it would have scratched it up. So as far as Android goes, it was nice trying something new, but I realized that I rely now a lot on iOS functions like AirDrop. I use my phone as my only camera, and so I'm constantly taking pictures and video for my reviews. And with AirDrop, I just select all the pictures, hit the AirDrop button, and they automatically go to my MacBook. It is super fast and it's very convenient. When you use a MacBook and you have an Android phone, you can sync your photos and videos with Google Photos and then pull them down on your with a browser on your MacBook, but that's just an extra step. Other little things like that have made me realize that for right now at least, and I say right now because I'll tell you in a second, that this phone isn't for me. It's just too expensive for what you get, and like I said, I'm not using it as a tablet. And now that we're not going on vacation like we had planned, I have no need for a tablet because I sit in front of a computer all day. So why do I need a tablet? So this is going back. I'm going to get my refund on this. And I said that I might still check out Android because coming up this week is Google's Pixel event. So I'm kind of thinking I might try buying the new Pixel and see if just a regular phone, Android phone, might be something I want to try. I'm kind of thinking that it won't stick, that I'm kind of now stuck in iOS mode, and I'm not complaining about that. I like iOS and I like Android, and for right now, I think the iPhone is the way I'm going to stay for now. So sorry, Samsung, I need my money back. Speaking of iOS, we know that Apple recently released the iPhone 14 series of phones, and I didn't buy one this year. I just didn't think that there was enough of an upgrade to justify buying it. So I still have my iPhone 13 Pro Max, but I had planned to buy the 14 until I realized the changes weren't going to be significant enough. And the fine folks at Pitaka had sent me 2 of the cases for the 14 Pro Max to review, but now I don't have a 14 Pro Max to review with it. Hey, if you have an iPhone 14 Pro Max and you would like one of these cases, send me a comment below letting me know that you'd like this case, and I'll wait for a few days and select somebody from the comments, or 2 people, to receive these cases. And thanks to Pitaka for sending me their Fusion Weaving Mag Easy Case 3 and their Mag Easy Case 3. Both of these are for the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and they're very nice cases. Right. And now let's take a trip down memory lane with Palm Pilot PDAs. Okay, here's what started my obsession with PDAs. It's one of the original Palm Pilots from US Robotics. I love this thing. Check this out. Remember this? The graffiti alphabet. Those were good times. But here, let's put some batteries in this thing. And see what it looks like. I haven't had batteries in this forever. All right, let's turn it on. And watch this thing boot up. I think it's on. Oh, there we go. Oh boy, it wants us to calibrate the screen. So let's do that real quick. Can you guys remember this? Some of you at least. Oh, now we get to set the time. Let's see if we can get this focused here. There we go. Let's just go ahead and go to applications. Oh, fun times. Giraffe. That was, oh, the way to learn how to do graffiti. I loved this phone. It was so basic, but it just felt so futuristic back then. And if you recall, there was an IBM version of it called the WorkPad. It was basically the exact same PDA, just a black version, and it was marketed from IBM. So let's take a look at a couple other ones here. This was a real favorite of mine when they had the metal case, the Palm V. You remember that one? This had a battery inside that you would charge. It was really sleek, and it had these rails on the side. So one side was for a stylus, and then people made cases for the other side that would hook on there. What about this one? This was the cheapie, the Palm Zire. My significant other, Jeannie, she used this for ages. She loved this thing. And here's another one. This was another favorite of mine, the Tungsten T. It expanded. Remember that? A little chunky boy with the spring-loaded stylus. I don't know, was this the stylus that was in it? Maybe. It's been so long. I think so, yeah, because it did that. Good times. And can you guys remember the bridge adapters? Do you know what those were for? Well, let's see here. This was the docking station for your Palm, and you would stick it in there like so to charge. But if you had a case on your PDA, it wouldn't fit in there because the case would go around it and it just couldn't fit. So the bridge was made. This was for the newer ones, and this was for the original. And so you stuck this bridge in here, and then you could stick the pilot on there, and it would fit because it'd give you enough room. A little funny story is that the bridge was invented by my boss who worked at Cummins. I worked at Cummins and he was my boss, Paul Peterson, and his partner, Don Damiani, who I also worked with, invented this. That really is a trip down memory lane. Remember the handspring visors? And this guy, the metal version. Metal buttons and everything. And last but not least, who remembers the Sony Cliés? I think that was how you said it. It was Sony's version, and they came out with so many different ones. It seemed like that they were coming out with Palm OS PDAs every other month, something new and interesting. So how was that for a trip down PDA memory lane? Look at all these. That sure was a fun time of my life. How about yours? And now here's a sneak peek of a review that I'm working on. I've got my finger covering up the brand name because I don't want you to see it. Because if you've been on my site lately and have watched some of my videos, it'll give away what it might be. But do you have any guesses? If you want to know, make sure that you subscribe to the channel here and you will be notified when I post my review of this later this week. Thanks for watching and stay tuned next week when I will do another trip down memory lane. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to cover, so you're just going to have to come back and watch. Thanks and have a good day.